How you doing, everybody? Bobby Hilton here from the Boom and Freezer Show. I got, of course, my partner over there, Scott Frost, and we got an awesome guest today, none other than Karl Boyes. How you doing, Karl?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Bobby? Scott looks like he's living the dream as usual.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually
Scott.
rough out here.
Let's touch up on that real quick before we start the show. What's going on with this scenery here?
Ah, well, to be honest, I'll be completely honest with you, and that's typically how I roll anyway. I know that for the next 3 to 5 weeks, I'm going to be stuck with the other guy on the screen, and when that happens, it's very intense. It's very stressful. So I needed a few days to decompress. Therefore, I'll be prepared to be around Carl Boys.
He's in camp before he beats me.
I'm in camp. I'm in camp.
Looks nice though.
All right, let's dig into it. World champion Karl Boyes, right? World champion. You know, that's a big deal, right?
It's a big deal, right? I don't know. Not sure.
Not sure.
It's a big deal. Carl, I tell
Two,
you,
two,
Carl's not going to talk big on himself, but he needs to. He doesn't play anymore. He's one of those guys that I don't know if Carl ever really. He was an entertainer. He was a lot like Jason, real natural player, but I don't know that Carl's going to talk highly on himself. But one of the straightest shooters, most natural players, probably to ever grace the table, in my opinion.
I'll give you that $20 he's Saudi, pal.
True.
No, I think I mean it's that long ago since I won the World 8 Ball, 2010. It's 15 years ago. It's like crazy, really. Um, but I don't know. I've always had a view that pool is very mixed up. There's a lot of versions, isn't there? There's a lot of different tables out there. Um, so I just feel like there's many people running around saying they're a world champion. So I sort of just downplay it a little bit. But I suppose it's nice when other people say it.
Yeah, I mean, world champion. Scott and I always touch on this. You know, once you win that world title, obviously, Carl, as you know, it's not easy, no matter what table or what game you're playing, and for you to do that is huge kudos. To have that little, you know, WC next to your name is such a big deal. Well, take us back to 2010 when you won that. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, how did you feel when you won that world title? I mean, obviously, that's what every pool player strives for, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, at the time, the World 8 Ball, WPA World 8 Ball, and the WPA World 9 Ball were the sort of like, along with the US Open in Chesapeake, they were big tournaments because I remember, I think Ephraim won the World 9 Ball and the World 8 Ball in the same year. And I think Wu Cha Ching also won the World 9 Ball and the World 8 Ball in the same year. So around that time, the World 8 Ball was played, every year. But then obviously, if you sort of look back now, I know it's made a return, but it's kind of gone missing. So it's never really been played every year. But at the time, I mean, I'm trying to think how old I would have been. I think I was 26, 27, 26 or 27. And around the time, I was like obviously massively keen. I'd not played in a Mosconi Cup yet, so it was all still sort of new to me. So, at the time it meant a lot. And I beat Niels in the final, got a little bit lucky in the last rat. I won 13-12. What about the finish? I think I tried to break a ball out, didn't break it out. And then I had to leave my breakout ball as my last ball, which is not wise. But luckily, I broke the eight out and landed on it. And yeah, so at the time it meant a lot, but it just feels like so long ago, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Bobby, I'm going to touch on that real quick. Carl, I'm I'm out to lunch, obviously. I had no idea it was the World Eight. So you played English eight ball, and I've probably already taken some of Bobby's questions. Is that how you started playing eight ball? Is that it just came natural? You didn't play a lot of 9 foot eight ball, did you?
No, when I was 13, I started playing English 8 ball, which is obviously what Mellin played, Darren Appleton, Jason Shaw. He won a World 8 ball championships, but he won the other version at the time. There was like two different versions. His was known as the weaker version, but they still had a lot of good top players in it. But the one that me, Darren, and Chris played in, it had a lot of strength in depth. That was seen as sort of the main one, if you like. So we all come from English 8 ball. So when I first come over to America to play the IPT, obviously that was 8 ball. That's how I originally got into what we call American pool over in England. But obviously playing on the 9 foot table where you could sort of let your stroke out a bit more, I kind of feel like it suited some of us English 8 ballers a lot more than others. So that's how myself, Jason, and Darren ended up sticking at playing American pool. But the IPT was when I first got into the American game. I just loved playing that format, and it was like group stages every day. We were playing loads of matches, and yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. So 8 ball, from the age of 13, it was just the game I played in the pubs in Manchester.
How big are those tables? How big are the English 8 ball tables? What are
Same
the
as the bar,
diameter? What are
same
the
as the bar
specs?
table, same as the bar tables. What you guys have over there, but obviously the balls are really small. So most players might use something from like an 8 millimeter tip to 9.
Right.
Playing English 8 ball. And the weird thing with that game is, at the time I didn't know it, but now looking back, it's crazy. The cue ball is smaller than the rest of the balls.
Oh, really?
Like,
Yeah,
wow.
it's a little bit smaller and lighter, so it bounces really like strange. So now, if obviously I don't play it, but if I went to play it now, my head's like, this is just bizarre. It's just a strange thing.
Was
But it's
the
the same.
transition was the
Yeah, yeah,
transition pretty
yeah.
easy from okay.
The transition from English 8 ball to the IPT 8 ball, I found easy just purely because the pockets were a bit more generous.
I
And
know you're
go on, Bobby. Sorry.
Yeah, I know you're just talking about different pubs and stuff that he played at. When we had Jason on our show a couple weeks ago, and he
Yep.
said a lot of those places that he played on were almost like Mosconi-ish. Did you experience that too? Were the crowds into it? Like
Yeah.
not a Mosconi, but similar.
Yeah, because like the reason why, maybe the similar reason over there, to be fair, but the reason why we have 7 foot tables is because you can put them pretty much anywhere. So a lot of the pubs and the clubs in England, you can pretty much get a table in one of the rooms, even if like where I first started playing pool when I was 13. The pub was called the Swan Hotel, and it had just one pool table in there. That's where I learned to play pool. I used to go in there every night, and just the landlord and the landlady would just give me the key to the table. I'd just play the locals. But I know what it means because we play like a league night, and where you might play league night in a pool hall and the pool hall's busy, we're playing it in the smallest room possible. So if there's 20 people in there, it's a bit rowdy.
Yeah, yelling, hollering, hooling, and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
and that brings me into my next question. You're a four-time Mosconi Cup champion, correct?
Yeah,
Four
four
times.
times. Yeah, the 2010 was my first. That was the year, obviously, I won that World 8 ball title. And I played at Bethnal Green, which, if you see the photos now, it's such a small venue. I think it was about 350 spectators, but at the time it felt like there were 3,000 because of a
Right.
similar thing. The venue was so small. It's like a well-known boxing place. They've had a lot of like boxing fights there over the years. So the ceiling's very low and every seat is filled. That's what I think with these arenas. You don't actually need loads of people to create a good atmosphere. The size of the venue really can do it all.
Great info. I can't agree more. Yeah. Bonus ball actually did that same thing. Bonus ball did that same
Yeah,
thing. They just had a big arena built around one table. Problem was they couldn't even the arena wasn't that big. The seating wasn't that big. They couldn't fill the seating, to your point. You don't have to have a 4,000 seat table arena or anything like that, I don't think, to make a good atmosphere.
yeah. A lot of times you can have just one table there and maybe like I don't know, like let's say 50 seats right around the table close, and that can feel more nervous than playing in a Moscone because everyone's right there.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we were Scott. I always talk about this too. We had Emily on season one, episode one too, and
Yep.
we ever think that the pool would ever go towards maybe like more Mosconi atmospheres at other arenas? Is that something you think might happen or should happen? You know what I mean? Like you said, not only get the tightness, but the crowd and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what we were hoping would happen. That's the plan. Just purely because it's like, for instance, when we go to Vietnam. Obviously, when you go out there and you see the crowds there and they get heavily invested, I just feel like because it all still feels a little bit new, and also like in England. Obviously, Scott's played loads of challenge matches, loads of money matches, but in America, when I've been there, when someone's playing a money match, it's still all quite quiet and respectful. But in England, I don't
Yeah.
know if you ever see footage on a Saturday night, there might be a money game somewhere in the country for like 20, 30 grand, and let's say I play Scott, a load of my friends come, a load of Scots, and it's like a football match back and forth.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and
That's
and, and almost like a little bit sort of like the shouting a few naughty things, trying to get under your skin a little
Sure.
bit. Um,
How do you bleed that into what we do, Carl, with Matchroom? How does that just can you force that? Can you kind of try to like promote that we want more of that, or that you want that Matchroom wants more of that? Is that something that they're looking for? What are your
I, I
thoughts?
I think, yeah, I think what we need is, like when you go to the Mosconi and you have like Tahir on the mic in between racks doing stuff.
Yes.
I think it just needs a bit of that, me. Obviously, you
Yeah.
need the right setting. Yourself, you've been to all the matchroom events, and um, obviously, you've been all over America and the world doing it. Like I say, you don't even need loads of people. If you had 100 people in a tight space, it can be pretty
Absolutely.
daunting. I just think you need someone on the mic before the match starts saying, "Listen, don't be scared to like give it a bit."
Agreed.
We've not really had that. It's all a bit like everyone just sits there and no one really says anything. But then when you see the Mosconi Cup, it's like mental.
I
Well, I
know it.
think go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
No, no, you're good.
I think it's to your point though. I think it's become a little toxic, right? Like over time, like you just said, I could be playing for 5,000 or literally 100,000, and it's always been the same. And over time, not just me, hundreds of players are doing this, and people see it and they feel like they can barely breathe, right? And
Yeah,
and even we are guilty of that, right? When you start to play in that atmosphere, when somebody does do something, a player will like, alert to that movement. I think
yeah,
that I think that an event, like a Florida Open or and the U.S. Open atmosphere is amazing. It is
great.
amazing,
Yeah,
but it is still, I think, at the right times or wrong times, maybe a little bit too subdued. But that being said, the other side of it is, man, the atmosphere is insane. So I just don't know where all that fits in.
I think let's say again, whatever the arena size, let's just say US Open. I think if I'm playing you on table 15 and
Yeah.
it's hill, or even getting near the end and it's looking like hill, for instance. I think if there's a crowd of people around there, people should like be giving it a bit of noise, and then other players, or even me or you, even if they're not cheering for one of us, I think you've just got to sit there and like suck it up, sort of thing, and just deal with it. Because, like you said, I think players can be a bit like, "Oh, this is a joke. This is too noisy, or this is happening. I'm up and down on my shot." But I think that's just some. If we're going to incorporate it into like a multi-table event, you can imagine if you've got people all around and there's a bit of noise there, and then there's something happening over there. I think it'd be really good.
Is that something that where you got to kind of brief the players, like maybe talk to the players a little bit more and let them know, hey, what do you think about this? Maybe these guys are, if you're referring to what's happening back in your home country for those matches, I mean, that's got to be fun, dude. That's got to be fun, right? I think that's where you probably get a lot of your personality. Maybe you brief the players on some of this, right?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's weird because even if like there's some English 8 ball tournaments, you don't really hear the noise at the tournaments. But when there's money
Okay.
matches,
Okay.
yeah, when there's money matches, there's a lot of that going on. I think it's just purely because they're playing on a Friday or a Saturday night. They're playing at like prime time where people have obviously off work. They're not working the next
Watching,
day.
want to let go a little bit.
Yeah, and like people are getting like minibuses and coaches to the venue, and they're straight on the beer, and then so it just sort of lends itself to that. Has that ever happened in America where someone's played a cash game and it's been rowdy or not?
I
But
don't think so.
nothing sticks out at me.
Why?
Yes, Scott would be the expert at that. He had a lot of money matches. You never
Yeah.
had like where people shark you and it's okay with it, everybody let it go or call it sharking.
No, no, it doesn't stick out to me really. Yeah, I mean, and it just gets my wheels turning a little bit. Like, we're not trying to say that we're changing anything, but I think that there's a formula there that really does work because look at the Mosconi Cup. I think it's more so the fans know that the players are concerned about that, right? I think if you could get the players on board with it, the players expressed that they're cool with that interaction and that banter. I think things might open up a little bit.
Yeah, because definitely at Hanoi, obviously it's a little bit different there, but I know like when the big crowds were in there and they were obviously very knowledgeable to like let's say if someone played a bit of a bad positional shot, there'd be a lot of like oohs and ahs and also I think the other thing is I think the World Nine Ball Tour we can be guilty of this as well. I think we need to take the tournaments to the right venue. I think other than the Mosconi Cup, US Open, I think it's got that vibe. You can go to venues thinking people are going to come to you, but I don't think pool's quite there yet.
Yeah, I think the Florida Open's the right venue. I think
Florida
as well.
Open,
Yeah, but no, I get it. I get it. I think that's a big. Obviously, I think that's almost everything.
yeah.
Picking the right logistics.
Because, like for instance, there's a lot of amazing pool halls in America. Obviously, if you put some sort of tournament on in a pool hall, you've got people there, haven't you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like
You can
for
see the
instance,
difference with the
Bobby's room.
Premier League.
Yeah, Bobby has Yale Billiards, and when he hired Jeremy Jones, Rodney Morris, myself, and Earl Strickland to go there, I mean, it was
Yeah,
just jam packed, and it, But to your point, the pool rooms, especially if you bring players from the World Nine Ball Tour, which I'm not saying that's going to happen, but
yeah,
if you could get an atmosphere like that, I think it's on top.
yeah.
I agree.
I just think it needs somebody there right before saying, right, listen, don't be
I
scared.
like it.
There's the bar.
Promoters for sure. Promoters.
There's the bar. Don't be scared to get involved, and because that's the thing with darts. I know we're going on to a different sport, but in the UK, you don't really go to darts to watch darts. You know it's on, and you're a little bit keen. You're glancing, but you're saying to your mate, right, show around, go and get the jug of ale and all this, and it's just a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
vibe.
Right. Like we had the Shane versus Fedor match, right? I mean, I don't think you heard a peep from anybody, right? Nobody was saying anything, whether they were up
yeah.
by 40 or a close match. There was really nothing going on either way. And just to touch something, so like what you were saying, Scott, earlier about the players, right? Like
Mhm.
you would have to talk to the players about changing something about it because I'm not going to say who, but I was talking to a friend of mine who's a player, and he said one of the other pro players said, "What are you, a fucking camel? You drink so much water." You know what I mean? So if you got that
Yeah.
type of people watching it, that how do you get away with the ha rah rah rah?
Well, that's the thing. I think the players kind of frighten the fans at times, right? The fans are
Yeah.
kind of walking, tiptoeing, right? They're just kind
Yes,
of tiptoeing
correct.
around,
Yes.
which is understandable on both sides. But if the players know going in, look, we're trying to lighten the mood a little bit, which I'll just tell you guys that I've talked to Carl about him. That guy at Classic Billiards, Dave Bartosiak, he was at the Mosconi Cup and he was screaming the whole time. In a classy way. I mean, he was just funny, right? He wasn't derogatory, wasn't really crazy rude or anything like that, but he was having fun. I just feel like if players are okay with that, fans are going to start to ease up and feel like, hey, look, we can breathe here. We can actually breathe and we can actually start to have some fun.
How long was like one of the sessions between Shane and Fedor? They played race to 40, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
race to
question.
40.
Yeah,
What did
and I think that that could be an issue as well, where the World Nine Ball Tour is never going to really be like that. I think we had I think we had a day that was upwards of 10 hours, but realistically, it was anywhere from 8 to 10 hours. That's a long day, right?
and people are just sat there fairly quiet.
Yeah, I mean, they would clap, they would get into it, but in that long of a match, you're going to go in spurts, right? And the crowd
Yeah.
kind of feeds off of each other. They would clap, and they were really respectful and very knowledgeable about what was happening. and there was a pretty good crowd. But then, you'd have these down periods where it was just really kind of dull.
Right. Yeah.
Because like in England, like I say, you could pretty much probably find a match every Saturday. Like there'll be a big cash game somewhere every Saturday in England, playing English eight ball, and they're playing like anywhere from let's say 10,000 up to 100,000. They might play first to 21, and it's done.
Our matches, yeah, that's awesome. Actually, our matches like that close to you. What you should put something like that on your YouTube channel, or at least like just brief it a little bit. I think
Well,
that'd be pretty cool.
what they're doing now is yourself, Scott. The modern day, they've got streamers in, haven't they? Streaming companies streaming it and all this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
They've
Yeah. It's a
already they're
big
already
deal
doing.
now. Big business right now. Carl, could you tell us, anybody watching now, what's the biggest difference between English eight ball? You always say English eight ball and American eight ball. Give our people
Um, well, let's just say bar table eight ball. Obviously, they're both 7 foot tables, but obviously, bar table eight ball in America is obviously the same size ball as the 9 foot table. English eight ball, the balls are, I want to say they're about 2 inch.
Are they like snooker balls?
The smaller, they're about 2 inch, I
Oh,
think, roughly
wow.
about 2 inch. And the cue ball's
Okay.
smaller and a little bit lighter. So obviously, it's reacting different off after contact. And then the pockets are like snooker tables, Chinese eight ball tables. So they're quite tight. And I think the rules now are the same as American eight ball rules. They play like international rules. I think a few years ago they realized that eight balls played like in American pool or eight ball. Do you still get one visit in America? I know there's loads of different leagues and things. So they've probably got their own version. I get that, but is it mainly one shot on a foul?
What do you mean by that?
Like if someone's playing bar table eight ball in a pool room in America and somebody fouls, is it one visit ball in hand?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what's been played over here now, but it never used to be like that. It used to play two shots because some people call it two shot.
What do you mean two shots? Like two fouls?
No, if you foul, I get a shot, like a free shot to do something, to like break out a bad ball, and then I go again.
Oh, really?
like a push out or something, kind
Yeah,
of.
you can disturb
Okay,
things. So
that's
that used to
interesting.
be that was a rule when I was growing up, but I think now like certain people who run like Ultimate Pool, obviously you've got Ultimate Pool USA, haven't you? They've
So when you
changed.
hold on real quick. So when you had the two shot rule, you couldn't be aggressive, but you could move a broken or a tied up ball out and then be aggressive, or can you be aggressive on the first shot?
Yeah, you can be aggressive whenever you want, but like what you were saying, the first shot, you'd break out the eight ball or a bad ball or whatever, and then
No.
clear the table. But I think what's happened is because they've realised eight ball all over the world, no matter what table it's been played on, they only play one shot. So it's been changed now. So
Okay.
most tournaments now over in England play one shot. There's still a few that play two shot. Don't get me wrong, but most of them play one shot.
Are the balls solid as in stripes, or are they different?
Reds and yellows.
Reds and yellows. Okay.
Yeah, seven red, seven yellow, and then the
And then
eight
a
ball.
stripe, right? Or eight ball.
Yeah, and then just the eight ball. But so the rules are pretty much the same now. It's just the table really, and the cue stick. Obviously, like when I played, my tip was 8 millimeter. Obviously, like people are playing anywhere from probably 11 up to 14 at American pool, right?
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 13, I think is the most common right now. 13 millimeters standard, pretty
Yeah, that's
much.
the
And
difference. But obviously, so an English eight ball, a little bit like bar table eight ball, because it's obviously a lot smaller, things are a lot more congested. But obviously, the pockets are tighter, the English eight ball. So you need to be a bit smarter with your pattern, basically.
Is there money in the tournaments in that game over there?
Not loads. The tournaments are paying probably like 12,000 US dollars to the winner.
It's not terrible.
Similar, yeah, similar to what like I think the main tour now is that Ultimate Pool, which they're going to America a little bit, aren't they?
yeah,
I
they
don't, I
just
don't, I
they just
don't.
started here last year or so.
Yeah, I don't know what they're paying in their tournaments, but I think see,
Similar, Similar.
Right, similar, yeah. But English eight ball's never really had a professional thing. It still hasn't. It's not like something where like everyone who plays it works for a living. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
People just play it. So it's never been professional. And I think like Ultimate Pool, their angle is the amateur game. That's why they've got Ultimate Pool USA. They're trying to get the leagues out in America.
Yeah, they do that speed pool too, right? Was there a shot clock when you played or no? It's just
I
it's
mean, I've played some of the Ultimate Pool stuff. When I quit playing American, I just thought if I'm at home a few weekends, I'll enter some of the tournaments. So they do. I think it's time matches, like 30 or 40
yeah,
minutes,
30 minutes. Yeah,
uh,
30, 40 minutes.
which I don't mind that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just because. I mean, I would like to see something like that on the World Nine Ball Tour as well.
Welcome to Harrods Resort in Atlantic City, where the 2024
Open, and like Scott was saying about like the vibe and the energy, it just feels different. The US Open, even in
It does.
Atlantic City,
It does.
even in Atlantic City, we've been there 3 or 4 years now, and you just feel like, all right, yeah, it's the US Open. Obviously you get a decent fan base going to watch, and I kind of like that. So obviously, never change that. That's got to obviously always do what that does.
It's
But
awesome.
yeah, I think like other events, we should be having different races, formats, all sorts of things. Try and make everything a little bit different.
Agree more actually. I think the Ultimate Pool format is pretty attractive. I think it's pretty attractive. I think they're onto something with that.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I've played it. It's a little bit harsh when you're playing. There's a few things I'd definitely tweak, but that's the pool player, and everyone wants to tweak
I'm
something.
sure. Sure.
Yeah, but I don't mind it. It's a bit different. It's supposed to be faster. There's definitely room for it, but I wouldn't like to see, like I said, I think like US Open and World Nine Ball Championships and these big events that we've got.
They got
We've
to
got to
stay the way they are.
yeah, we've got to keep it professional at the end of the day.
Yes.
But there's definitely room to have a little bit of even set play. I don't mind like a tournament with set play, but the thing is, Matchroom, they know this. I'm not saying it's going to happen or it's not going to happen or whatever, but they know this, and we
Sure.
just got to keep pushing the buttons, Scott.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The good thing is that obviously we've been around pool for so long. Matchroom do listen. I know people might think they don't, but
Well, they
we do
do.
have we have a voice. We can say what we want. We can say we can literally say things and they listen and they can implement it. So it's good because over the years, like certain organisations, you were scared to speak because if you said something, you might be banned for 12 months.
Agreed. Yeah. And Matchroom's so big, it's not like they can just change something that everybody wants overnight or what the majority might think overnight. They're a big outfit. And that's another thing. I don't think people realize how big Matchroom really is when you involve like Sky Sports and some of these major events, Carl. Like first time I commentated with you, so I don't know, 3 years ago now, probably, I was blown away. It's not your average tournament. It's not your average pro tournament, right? They
Yeah,
bring a lot more to the table as far as production and everything that they're doing behind the scenes.
yeah. There's like probably 50, 60 people behind the scenes. I was the same as you, Scott. I
Yeah,
was like, I was thinking, what's everyone doing here? I don't understand what
it's
everyone's
crazy.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, it's pretty sweet. But like I said, they listen. Obviously, I mean, we all know, if you've been around pool long enough, everyone's got the right formula, the right rule set. We need to ban this, we need to do this. Um, I think the biggest issue is there's just so many different versions of pool. It's never had its like own identity, has it? Someone's got like a better idea. Like bonus ball, it needs to be this, but IPT it needs to be this, but they all seem to come and go, don't they?
you said it. I mean, you're exactly right. You're
We-
exactly right. There's so many different versions, and each
We've
promoter wants to do something different.
yeah, we've been a millionaire 5 times, Bobby.
Yeah, we've been promised to be rich 5 times. That's exactly right. It's true. It's true.
Let's go with that. What do we got to do to make that happen? What's the next step? What's the big thing we got to do? We got to make that happen.
What's the next step? That's a good
I think
question.
Matchroom, I mean, I'll just speak. I think Matchroom's doing a hell of a job, right? Like, I mean, look what they've done with some of the players. I mean, Jason Shaw's made a hell of a living off of doing well in Matchroom. Better Gorse has made a hell of a living now. Mickey Krause, look at what he's done. Now he's getting huge followers. I mean, I think it's in the right direction, but I think conversations like this are really, really healthy, especially with people that can make a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also don't forget Scott, #1 commentator, sat on his ranch there with the big lake in the background.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. No, I think Scott's right. I think, listen, it still feels early with obviously Matchroom and the tours. You look at, this year we're going to go to Florida. We're back in Vietnam. There's all these territories. We've got the Philippine Open. Um, it's just still so new, isn't it? I know there's going to be a lot of players thinking, "Where's the tournament? What's going on?" But it's a minefield. There's so much stuff behind the scenes. What people probably don't realize. It's hard work. But if you look at, certainly when I was playing, we had 3 tournaments that Matchroom did. That was it. They had the Mosconi Cup, the World Pool Masters, and the World Cup of Pool. They were the only 3 tournaments Matchroom ever did. And every pool player was like, "Oh, we need Matchroom to take over. We need Barry Earn to get involved in 9 ball." Now they're involved. They're still fucking moaning.
No.
But we've got so many more events. You know what I mean? Is it perfect yet? Probably not. But listen, I'd rather trust Matchroom's vision than anybody else in this sport. I know that.
Question.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we're traveling. We're going with Jonas and Lucas. We're going to Virginia, Florida, Virginia, and then Atlantic City, and then Malden, Mass. So we got 5 events in like a 6-week period. It's going to be unbelievable, and it's going to have a lot of effect on obviously Mosconi this year. But before we talk about Mosconi, let's talk a little about Reyes Cup. You obviously the captain of last year's second place finish. What's going on this year? Do you know what's going on with the Reyes Cup this year? Any news you can share with us?
No, I mean, obviously people think I know everything, but I don't. I'm out the loop. I'm out the loop
It's
just like
true.
everyone else.
Last to know, huh?
No, I don't even ask Carl because I mean, Matchroom does a really good job at keeping, and it starts with Emily, and you got to give her credit. She does a good job at keeping things quiet until it's time to release it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously we know it's on. We just don't know which team's going to be playing. If there was a voting panel, I would say Europe, but I mean it doesn't really matter either way. The only reason why I would say that is because I do like the idea of the winners of the Mosconi play in Asia. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was the whole idea all along, but that was just my personal opinion. I had no idea.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, if it is going to be America, then is it just going to be a case of rotating each year? Which I'm down with that. So, but I don't know. I don't know. I know it's on. That's all I know.
And then I mean, if America is on and if they get beat pretty badly, then what about opening it up to like I don't know, taking players from different parts of the country, different parts of the globe, I should say, adding on to the teams. You never know. You could do all
Yeah,
sorts of things with that.
Asia versus the rest of the world.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, listen. Like I said, one thing I know is they're not scared of like changing things and going right. You know,
sure.
America's turn to play them, or like Scott. Is it? Who knows?
What's going on with the Yankee hat over there in London? What's going on with that? Just
I don't know. We,
yeah.
we have these in the stores, but nobody really. It's not like everyone's a fan. It's just more the brand thing. People just know that logo.
That's what it
That's
is.
crazy. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
I mean,
Carl's in
Yankees.
Carl's
The
in
Yankee.
Blackpool.
What's that?
Carl lives in Blackpool. You're 5 hours north of London?
Yeah, I can get there on the train in about 3 hours, but if driving's like torture, about 5 hours.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm on the coast. And in 2014, we had the Mosconi Cup in this town, in my hometown. That was pretty crazy. We have like
Did
a
you have
tower.
anything to do with that?
I played in it.
Did you have
Oh,
anything to
wow.
do with getting venue there?
No, because World Snooker used to have the snooker shootout, which is like a speed pool snooker event once a year. So that was at the tower for about 3 or 4 years, I think. So because of that, and obviously Matchroom, they run snooker and everything. They're involved with snooker. They just use that as the venue. But if people have not seen it, Google Mosconi Cup Blackpool Tower. The venue was unbelievable.
Gotta imagine that's got to be a great memory for you, huh?
Yeah, I was just sleeping in my bed, and then at night I was going down there. It's like probably like a quarter of a mile from my house, and obviously I knew even when I was growing up, when I was like 13, 14, people had played in the league with everyone come to the tournament. It was crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
What
And
about what about your
but
YouTube channel? We're switching gears. What about your YouTube channel? I think you make great content. How long has it taken you to build that following where you're at right now? And what do you have? 50,000, 60,000 followers?
51, yeah, about 50,000, yeah, 51,000. But I've not posted for about 4 weeks due to a number of reasons.
Talk to us.
I had I wanted a little bit of time out because I knew the calendar offered the time out.
Why
So I
Scott is
thought,
where he is, but I still dragged him
yeah,
into work. But
exactly. I just thought, well, I mean, obviously, like Scott and Jeremy, they do so much coaching around America, but I don't do any of that here. So I just knew I could switch off for like 3 or 4 weeks and not even, talk about pool or anything. I knew it was the right time. So I did that. And then also, I still have a table at home in a games room. And I wanted to like redo the games room because it had never been done since I bought the house. So I've had all that redone. So that'll have a fresh look on the channel. But to answer the question, building up to that, probably about 2 years. But that's not through.
That's
I
pretty
didn't
good in
post.
2 years though.
No,
That's pretty
yeah,
good in 2 years.
yeah, it's not bad, but I didn't continuously post. I think what I've learned with YouTube is you've got to post like, once a week, repetitive, on the dot, constantly interact with people on there. But it's pretty sweet. And then I've had when I started it, I tried to do it all on my own. I was like, I was filming it myself in there. I learned to edit, and then it was like putting music to the videos and doing all that. And then obviously
a
it's
lot
like,
of work. It's a
yeah,
lot of work.
yeah, and then making the thumbnail. I tried to make the thumbnails and do all that. So it's a lot of work. Then I tried to get somebody involved with it, but that didn't work out. Sometimes I have, Scott knows a lad from, he does a lot of the editing for Matchroom, Korean Ben. Sometimes he helps me film the videos when we're away. So when you're trying to do it all on your own, sometimes you think this is not, it's not quite working the way I'd want it to work. And then obviously I'm not a professional editor, but I've edited like quite a lot of the videos. But I think that's the way I need to go. I think I just need to go back to me doing everything. I think that's the only way it's going to work properly. But I don't mind doing it, to be fair, because you can just sort of go in there and just film what you want to film. You're not getting no miver for anybody, and like you can edit it how you want it and just send it out there. It's almost like it's a different audience. You don't see them at tournaments. You know what I mean? It's like
You
an
know,
older.
we talked about it in Bosnia. Like you started blogging for a while, and I personally liked it because you're entertaining, right? And
I
you
got
were
banned
talking.
though. I got banned though because I was a naughty boy.
You didn't do anything wrong. But
It's
yeah,
just my sense of humor. Sometimes, my sense of humor can be took whichever way people want to take it. But people who've known me all my life know what my sense of humor is about.
yeah.
But obviously, when you're vlogging, you got to vlog, haven't you? Everything's got to go in the video, pal. You know the script.
Well, that's what it's about, right? And that's why I think you're great at it, because you have a unique sense of humor, and it's valuable in my opinion. But yeah,
You're very charismatic. I mean, I guess you got a huge Instagram following as well, right?
No, I wouldn't say huge. You guys do the same thing. You got to keep posting. Even these
work.
podcasts,
Yeah.
you know, it's not going to happen overnight. You got to keep making sure you put the video out, and if you do that, then obviously it's going to be all right. What I will say about the vlog, though, I'll just make sure I don't upset the gaffer. The vlog's back, pal.
Yeah.
The vlog's coming back.
And so everybody knows the GAPA over in Europe is the boss. Just so
The
everybody
boss.
knows.
Emily's the boss, so I call her the gaffer.
Yeah.
Queen of
So the
Nine
vlog-
Ball, right?
The vlog's got to come back. I think we can have a bit of a laugh with the vlog.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that's your best content, personally.
You know yourself, Scott. You're there. You know you're at all events. We get up close to the players. We can go out for dinner. We can get on the table. You know, we can have a bit of a laugh. So, and obviously a lot of the YouTube videos as well. What I've noticed when I've made some with some players is a lot of the comments are like, "Oh wow, he comes across like a great guy. I never thought he was like that." Not me. I mean,
Absolutely.
like what I try and do is like have a game of pool with everybody, get everyone on the channel, have a few games of pool, have a bit of a chat, and then when I've done that, I've done it with like Francisco Sanchez
Jay
Ruiz,
Manis.
AJ. I've done it with Jason. Obviously, Shaw's a bit up and down. Some people love him, some people hate him, but a lot of the haters, when you've done stuff like that with Jason, they're like, "Oh, he seems like a really sound guy." People have a perception of somebody when they've never met him, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So I think it's good
we talked about that, Jason, on the show. You know, he says he has people that will talk about him and they have no idea about him at all. You know what I mean? He's total opposite of how person that he is.
like with the YouTube and obviously socials. It's just so good for growing the game in general, because like in England, I was on Stephen Henry's, like you obviously know Stephen.
Oh yeah.
Henry. Yeah, right, for sure. So he was like 7-time world snooker champion, but in the 90s. So obviously that's a long time ago. He's like mid to late 50s now. But Stephen Henry basically does what me and Scott does for the World Nine Ball Tour. He's a commentator and he does all the studio. And he's got a YouTube channel, and it's a big YouTube channel. So I was on there once playing a bit of nine ball and having a chat with him. And just through that YouTube channel, and obviously the World Nine Ball Tour as well, it's amazing how many places I go now where one person will come up to you and go, "Are you that pool player?" Obviously, it's like, Scott, we don't play pool, but people still think you play pool, don't they?
Yeah, everybody thinks I play every day.
Yeah, exactly. So people think like you still play pool or you're on the tour, because they don't really know enough about the tour and they don't know what's going on. But the amount of people that I mean, just like one person, it's like, "Are you that pool playing guy? I've seen, yeah, where have I seen your face?" It's like unbelievable. I ain't played for 10 years. You know what I mean?
You're on
Social
camera
media.
all the time too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
Carl's on that camera a lot.
But
Yeah,
that's
you
good.
do.
But it's
Yeah,
good
Carl, you
because
do everything. You do everything, right? For Matchroom. I mean, you do commentating. I mean, I see you're
Oh
always
yeah.
doing interviews. I mean, so obviously you're going to get that, I would think, a lot, right?
yeah, that's more them saving the budget. Just throw Carl and he'll do everything. He'll hold the camera. He'll interview the
How
players.
how long you been with Matchroom?
My first gig was 2019 US Open. Did you play that or not?
2019.
Did you play or not? It was in
Probably not.
Vegas.
Right before COVID. Right before COVID.
It was in
No.
Vegas, and every table had a referee and a separate shot clock person on every table.
I thought you were with Matchroom a long time before that, though.
No, 2019 was my first gig. I actually
Okay,
entered.
okay.
I stopped playing in 2016 around. Right. 2015 was my last Mosconi Cup, and at the start of 2016, I went to the Euro Tour in Italy. This is actually a funny story. I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to tell you. Right.
Say it.
Let's go. Let's
Right.
go.
So 2016, I went to the Euro Tour. It was in February, first Euro Tour of the season. Right. And obviously, when you've played the Mosconi Cup, or certain players have won US Opens and these bigger events, going to the Euro Tour is like going to Tuesday night league pool. You're just over
Right.
it. You know, when you've
Yeah.
reached a certain level,
Yeah.
you've done that when you was younger, right? So I went to this Euro Tour, and so my lad, no, was it 2006? Yeah, my lad was nearly 1. He was like 6 months old. My boy
Shout
was
out
born.
Joshua.
Yeah, my lad was born July 2015. So in 2016, in February, he wasn't even 1, right? And I've got a daughter, and she was like 3, 4 year old at the time. So I've had to go to the Euro Tour, and there's 2 airports. There's one about 10 minutes, and there's one about 50 minutes. And when I've looked at the flights, I think the Euro Tour started on the Thursday. So there was a flight Thursday morning. It got me into the closest airport at about 10 a.m., right? Euro Tour starts around 11 a.m. or maybe like 10 a.m. actually. Yeah, I think it started at the same time I was landing. Or the other airport, there was a flight, but only one a week on the Monday, right? So what I've done is I thought, right, this is a bit of a nightmare because I can fly to the closest airport on the day of the tournament, or I can fly to the furthest airport, but I'm there for 3 days. And I've got a 3-year-old and like an 8-month-old son at home. So I've emailed Gree Linders. Yeah, I'll call him out on this, by the way. I won't say Euro Tour. So Gree Linders, who still runs the Euro Tour, by the way. So I've sent him an email explaining the situation. No, we can't do that. All I wanted is, can I fly in on the Thursday, right? And if by some miracle I get drawn at the 10 a.m. round, can
Just
I play
move
at 12,
to 12.
2,
Yeah, move it.
4?
Yeah, for sure.
You get it. So basically, no, can't do that. And I thought, well, I half get that as well because what if 20 people ask? So I sort of half get it at the same time. But I'm thinking, fucking hell, that's a nightmare. So anyway, I go to this Euro Tour on the Monday. So I'm staying there for 3 days in the middle of nowhere, it's like in the middle of the field Scott sat on this venue, nothing around for miles, right? So
Yeah.
2 kids.
Yeah, and then they do the draw. I'm on at 2 p.m. So my mindset was in a great place. Anyway, I come down, I think I come down to come to the match. I'm talking to Nikos Economopoulos, the Greek player. Tony Drago walks in with a big suitcase, and he's all like puffing and panting. You know what Drago's like? He's dead loud in. He's like stressing. So I think somebody went, "Oh, you're right, Tony." No. My flight was at such a time this morning, and then I've just landed. And I thought, he's just come on the Thursday.
And
Tony
your flight.
Drago. Yeah. So he's come on the Thursday, right? But then I realised they sponsor Tony Drago on the Euro Tour. So obviously what they've done is they've let him come on the Thursday. Now Drago don't have any kids, no nothing.
Right.
Oh no.
So after that,
no.
I quit. I never went to another Euro Tour again after that. That's when I stopped.
Wow. Yeah, that's justifiable because I mean you got not only wrong by him not being able to switch the time, but he let somebody else do it, and it's just not right. There's nothing
Well,
positive.
that guy was sponsored by him and doesn't have kids or a family or a newborn or anything.
Yeah, so
that's
I remember I said to Gray, I said, listen, you won't ever see me on this tour ever again. I was done. And at the time, if you didn't play Euro Tour, you ain't getting in the World 9-Ball Championships and you ain't getting in the Mosconi Cup. You was done.
That was the biggest tour out there.
That were it. That was just how Europeans got in them events. So after that, I just quit. That was me done.
So I didn't even know that story, and we talk literally all the time. So that was a massive impact to what you decided to do in the future, right? Because from that was 2015, you said, or 2016?
2016, February 2016.
So 2017, 2018, 2019, you don't play up until the U.S. Open in Vegas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I might have played a couple of local events and whatnot. And to be fair, I might have even played the next Euro Tour, and then I might have made the decision this is a joke. But at that time, I just thought I knew I was done in my head. Like, you know, it's like where you say you're going to quit and you're done, but sometimes it goes on a little longer than it should have done.
Your mind already quit, but your body thinks, I'm still going to do it. Like, but your mind's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I did, but I just knew I was done. I mean, like, if the tour was what it is now, like back then, this was built for me. What we've got now, and I get it. It's not perfect yet, but I don't want to be playing in all these like pool tournaments with all these different rules and organisers. I just want to be on some.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just want to be on something where I can say, yeah, I play on the World Nine Ball Tour, I'm a World Nine Ball Tour Pro, whatever. Obviously, at the
Well,
time, go
listen,
ahead.
dude. I mean, it's 2019 to 2025. I think these conversations are great, but Matchroom's come a long freaking way. I mean, they've done a lot of good things, man, in
I
six
agree.
years.
No,
I
I
mean,
agree.
Jesus Christ, give me a break, right? Like they have done a lot of really good things. You've got guys making $500,000 a year now. So the conversations we're having are great. They've done a lot of good
Quarter
stuff.
million at one event next week. I mean, that's
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good
yeah,
stuff.
and obviously Barry's put more money on the US Open. They've obviously they got the rights to the US Open. Obviously that's now in Atlantic City. Obviously there's new events. Listen, they ain't going to slow down. I know how they operate in other
Right.
sports. What they're about. It's just they're involved in a tricky sport pool. You know what I mean? Everyone's trying to get their fingers in the pie, but a lot of it really I blame the players as well. The players have got to stand up and just know your worth. I was in the meeting in what year was it? It was when the Masters was in Brighton, Brentwood, sorry. And Barry spoke to the 16 players, and said, "Listen, know your worth. We're trying to build something here. We're trying to build a professional tour and a brand. But when you look back at that, I was in there. He took us all for a slap up meal. And if I was a player and I was in that meeting, you would not see me playing in anything unless I had a WNT stamp on it. I can assure you. But fucking hell, 4 weeks ago, I seen Shane was playing ultimate pool on a bar table. It just sends such a bad message, in my opinion.
Yeah, not just him. Not just him.
No, not just him. Not singling him out. I mean, there's a few in
No,
there that
I know there's
yeah.
several others. Yeah. No,
But
I agree though, Carl. I
yeah,
do agree.
it
It's a
just
little
sent.
different for us though. I mean, I guess because you and I have jobs, kind of, I don't want to say guaranteed, but I mean, maybe it's a little different.
Well,
Maybe
you
these
say
guys,
that, but I mean, I know when I was playing and I was sponsored, I used to get a tiny bit of cash and a few cues. Now I'm hearing all kinds of figures they're getting.
yeah, no,
yeah, good
I get it.
figures.
Now,
Yeah,
obviously, if a pool player tells me they're getting frigging $60,000, we can trim that up a little bit because we know what these boys are like. But they're still getting enough money where, there's definitely a lot more work now than like when you was like, let's just say when you was playing bonus ball for argument's sake. When you look
I
at what's
agree.
about
It's
now,
not even close. It's not
yeah,
even
it's
close. This
not
is
even
why
close.
I didn't play tournaments leading up to this point in my career. There was no
Yeah,
money in it. I could make what uh, most of the top American players were making. I could make that in a week if
yeah,
I got a little lucky. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That's what I mean. So I think like we can all blame promoters, whoever's trying to put events on, but uh, players don't help themselves because if you've got
Never have.
no, never have because at the end of the day, I just always think well like obviously snooker's the game of snooker, isn't it? Tennis is tennis. Like I said, pool's got different size tables, different size balls, different rules from wherever you're from. But that's the reason why Matchroom have chosen nine ball and only nine ball. They're not interested in other games. They're not going to do a mixed tour because how can you just do a mixed tour of all different games? It just sends such a
Fully agree.
yeah to the average person on the street. Like Wimbledon tennis is on right now. I've not seen a single shot, but I know it's on and it's packed. But I'll probably watch tomorrow because it's like the semi-finals, and I looked at the semis and thought they're two great matches. But I know it's tennis on grass. It's not like, oh,
Yes.
what table's this and what's going on here, and they're trying to be this and that. It's just so mixed up, and I don't think the players help. Even though that I think the players want to play on one pro tour. I get it, and at the same time, it's not quite there. So maybe they're forced, like Scott says, you're forced into playing in other things. But sometimes you've got to just stand your ground, don't you? And say, no, it's not right.
Well, yeah, and I think players get a little greedy at times as well, right? Like when they're looking at money situations, they, even myself, I'll just speak for myself. It's real easy to have a short-term thinking process versus a long-term. And I think if these guys had a little bit more of a long-term thinking process, like what's going to happen in a year, what's going to happen in a year and a half, not what's going to happen next month. Like you said, they're already making really good money, most of them. And we don't have to mention names, but it's just it's unfortunate.
Yeah, because like now I think about it, really, I never thought about this, but in my head, obviously, I know I don't play professionally, and I said I would only stick to playing on WNT events. Effectively, I've done the same from the commentary box. I don't talk on anything unless it's WNT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, you
Well,
don't see my
and
face.
to that point, I mean, I do it over here. And I mean, Jeremy does it over here as well. So,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, but to you, you're a little different in my opinion. I feel like you're kind of a gossip in the WNT, Carl. I think you're up there. You don't know your net worth, but I know your net worth in Matchroom and your value is to them. I know how valuable you are to them, and
Are you
it's
saying I need?
extreme.
Are you saying I need to put my money up to the gaffer or what?
No, no, I'm not saying that. I don't want to get in no trouble.
I know Scott said I should be on board now.
Yeah, right.
We got the recording right here, so we can send it to her if you want.
Send it straight after this,
No, no,
please.
no, no.
No.
But I know, I mean, I think you have other sources of income. I mean, it's still tough. We're definitely not getting, as you know, getting rich commentating. But you also know I'm extremely loyal to the WNT as well because I know their end goal and I know that they actually care and mean well. Um, and they've been the same thing. They've been consistent. They've been the same thing. Nothing's
Yeah.
ever changed. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, I, I mean, these other companies just come out of the blue, right? They just come out of the blue, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, once they see the sport the way it's going, I mean, I feel, and I think everybody sees, the podcasts like this, and obviously, Carl's, YouTube channel, and you guys can check that out on YouTube. We'll have the link in it. What is Karl Boyes at YouTube channel? Make sure you guys go check that out. But everybody sees the pie growing a little bit. Somebody wants, like as Scott said, somebody wants to get a piece, so they're gonna somebody with a little money. Hey, I want to throw in this. We're gonna try this. Instead of sticking to what we're doing. And but I think WNT is doing the right thing. I think the players, you got to use your judgment. Like Scott and I are doing this show, and you do your YouTube channel. You guys have to figure out what's best for you guys as well. I'm not saying step away from WNT or do anything else, but you guys, as professionals, you have to do what you guys have to do to make your money and make your career successful in the long run.
Yeah. See, the thing is with like myself and Scott, we've tasted the pain. We've been around for that long. We've played these
Oh yeah,
tours. You know what I mean? We've tasted the pain. So, I know people would say, well, these two are going to say that because Matchroom are paying some money and
no,
you're commentating. But listen, Matchroom, no. I've always been outspoken and obviously just fortunate to be in the role. Obviously we're going to go Saudi for the World Nine Ball, and like I said, we can say what we want. Anything that any players ever said to me, I've relayed it onto Matchroom, and things have changed. Rules have changed since 2019 when they've come along. Um, it's probably just not happened as quick as what some players want, but I think that's because they all know what Matchroom are about, really. So they just probably expected, Matchroom to deliver after sort of 12 months, but it's tough.
well, that's what I was just alluding to, right, Carl? The decisions to make a small change in such a big company, it isn't quite that easy. And Bobby's a businessman, right? Bobby understands change happens, but in major corporate and bigger businesses, it's not quite that easy because it affects a lot of different things down the line. We're talking about, people have been playing a tour for a long time, so changes will happen, but it does take time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And but like I said, the way I look at it is WNT is doing a fantastic job. I mean, I keep drilling this and saying this so much. I mean, you got $1 million event, a 10-year contract. I mean, I keep saying that, and then that should be everywhere. That just is something else. Uh, No one ever thought of that. I mean, I own a pool hall for 30 years. Never thought we'd be getting $250,000 for a one tournament event. So no matter which way you look at it, yeah, you got to be that one person, and it's hard to beat that one person. But somebody's going to get a shot at $250,000, which is life changing, right, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's not what yeah, it's not just that, it's what comes behind that, right? You're going to get all sorts of deals that probably close to match that number, which is really what Matchroom is so great at, making a new superstar.
yeah, that's the thing. When you look at all, like I say, we've spoke about all the different versions. Winning the World Nine Ball Championships, like for me, along with the US Open, I think like in a lot of sports, you'd always say you want to be world champion, but I think nine ball's a bit unique. I think like the World Nine Ball Championships and the US Open carries the same weight. I think like a lot of pool play. I mean, maybe even some pool players want the US Open a little bit more, but obviously now with 250 to winner, that plays a little bit more of a part in it. But I think in nine ball, when you think of nine ball the game, and obviously it's got history and like if a lot of the people in England, if you asked like 100 random people on the street, can you name me a pool player? A lot of them probably couldn't, but now if they did, it'll be Earl Strickland.
Yeah, probably, right?
Earl Strickland's the pool player.
Yep.
No one knows who Efren Reyes is in England. No one.
Really?
No one.
Wow.
I'm talking about the average person.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you said to a random person, can you name me a pool player? And they went, oh. They might go, what's that guy called who snapped his cue? Or he's a bit crazy. Yeah,
The
they
crazy
say,
guy.
Yeah, but it's Earl Strickland. That's the guy.
Yeah.
And that's because obviously, like Matchroom, he played all them, Mosconi Cups. Obviously, that's helped in this country for his profile, obviously. But when you think about it, if somebody says, "Oh, Earl Strickland," and you've got a bit of knowledge, you say 5-time US Open champion, obviously world nine ball champion. That's what you say, don't you?
Yeah, that's what you say. That's what it is. I mean,
Yeah, 5-time
yeah,
US
what I
Open.
think the first time I met him, or whatever it was, 2000 or whatever it was, that's what he was signing his pictures, 5-time US Open champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so and I think like same with Shane. If you said, "Oh, Shane Van Bonen," they'd say the same, wouldn't they? They wouldn't say, "Oh, yeah, he's a 14-time US Open bar table champion or whatever," would they? It's that. Obviously, Shane's won freaking more pool tournaments than anyone on every table, but he's known for his 5 US Opens, isn't he? And obviously winning the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I mean, and Earl to this day, he still brings that crowd like in the pool. If you have him, I think you guys just signed him, right? I think he's going to the Florida and US Open, correct?
Yeah, and he's listen. Obviously, Scott knows the game better than anyone. It's amazing how freaking well he still plays.
Scott, you
It's
there?
actually, yeah, it's actually insane how great he still plays the game.
Oh,
Sorry, I muted myself. I
that's
muted
what I
Oh, is
myself.
thought.
he speaking? But I can't hear him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but he does, to Carl's point, like the guy still shoots so straight, it's frightening how great he can still play. We all know, Earl, he's his own worst enemy, right? Now, I think there's something to some of the stuff he does with his cues, but we were at the US Open last year, they did some video on it. I mean, that thing is like 12 yards long. It weighs like it weighs like 3 bowling balls. I mean, at some point I don't think that helps you, right? So I wish he would kind of just go back to his roots when he played like perfect for about 20 years, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, I know what you mean. And that the bit where you hold, like trying to hold your arm, wasn't it? It was so
Yeah.
thick.
Yeah,
He got it with
Well,
yeah.
that tennis wrap thing, 'cause he's been here several times. He actually played Jason Shaw, I think it was, I want to say 3.5 years ago here.
Yeah.
And he was leading 21-20. He ended up losing 25-21. But I mean, that shows you how well he still plays.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
What age is he at now?
I say 62. Not 100%. I'm pretty sure he's 62.
I mean, every time I've watched him, I mean, obviously I've not seen him loads, but it's always like the US Open. And when he plays, even if he gets beat like off somebody, you think he's actually only made like 2 or 3 little errors there.
Yeah, for sure. No, he
Yeah,
still has it. Still has it for sure.
yeah, he still plays so good, that guy.
In the conversation for greatest handball player for sure of all time. I mean, he's right there for my
Yeah,
money
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. All right, let's get a couple quick questions here from our people here. Uh, every pool player has a go-to story they're proud of. What's your go-to story? Like if somebody said, your pool career, how's it been? What's the one story that you could talk about?
The one story. I mean, obviously playing the Mosconi Cup in my hometown was pretty sweet. Just to experience it, and the fact that it was literally just down the road, and the venues like it wasn't a venue what you have to build like the Mosconi Cup is now. It's literally, I've took both my kids to the circus there and sat in the seats, and I'm like, fucking
Crazy.
hell, I can't believe there was a pool table in it. There's a diamond pool table in the middle.
That's crazy.
And I
Yeah.
played, and it's so like old and it's round. So the venue, and it's dead like it's like an amphitheater. It goes up and it's like echoing. So that was pretty mad. But I think when I played Earl in the Mosconi Cup was pretty fun, just because obviously I know how great he is and I know what a legend he is, and even now when I think I played in four, it doesn't seem real, because when I was a kid playing English 8 ball, I'd seen like the World 9 Ball Championships on TV, and I'd seen like Earl snap the cue and whatever else, or maybe just a little bit before that, or Steve Davis playing in it. And I wasn't playing nothing to do with American pool, so I never thought that would happen. So to have played in four, but then in 2013, obviously you put your 5 singles matches down, so it's just lucky you play, isn't it? And then it just so happens I was due to play Earl, so I was like, fucking hell, that's pretty sweet. So that was good.
That's real
Because
awesome.
obviously,
That's
yeah,
great.
because
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
yeah, and obviously I've not seen Earl at his best, when he was younger, and I can imagine how freaking scary he was, just with how good he plays now. So just to play in that arena against him, it was just surreal, really.
Very special. Nice.
Oh, I
Well,
don't won, by the way.
go ahead.
I got the W as well.
Oh yeah.
Got to make
What
sure you
was the
drop that
score?
in there.
What was the score?
6-4 it was.
Oh, that's when it was races for six, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
make a sick out to win as well. YouTube the out. I can knock in to beat him as well.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Was he a
Was that?
No,
gentleman?
but say again.
Was he a gentleman?
No,
No.
no, no.
He took it rough. He took it a little
yeah,
hard.
yeah. He was not happy, but it was just surreal just to be sat there, and he was,
Of course.
he was playing there. Yeah, no, that was good. Probably that really. I don't know. Maybe on my missed 8 ball, when I missed the 8 ball over the pocket. That was a good one.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear about that more than you hear about the good stuff, right?
Isn't that
I know they
crazy how
rip
it
you about
works?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, you miss one ball, you never forget. You win a world champion. We'll talk about that once in a while.
Yeah, the shot I played to get on the 8 ball. No one wants to speak about that, by the way. Fucking hell.
Of course. That never makes the reel, by the way. They only see the eight.
Yeah, but it's all fun and games.
Being involved in the sport the way you are now with WNT, what's your biggest piece of advice you'd give to somebody that's thinking about, I could do that. I think I can play professional level, and I see the money's there. What advice would you give that person?
Something I never had or did. I would go and get coaching, without a doubt, because I was just so raw. I just played in the pubs, and just learned
Same.
it. Yeah, just learned it my own way, really. And yeah, I mean, obviously Scott does a lot of coaching. Jeremy does a ton of coaching. So just somebody that's like, and also not just coaching where somebody's decided they're a coach as well. I mean, someone who's tasted the pain as well.
Yeah.
Sat in the seat. That for me, I mean, listen, Johan's an unbelievable coach, without a doubt. I've played under him twice. He's phenomenal. But just to hear it from a voice of somebody who's sat there and tasted that pain as well, who's also obviously a very good coach. I would go down that route, and I would just enter tournaments. not just like play with your mum or your dad. Just throw yourself in the deep end, get in one of the tournaments. Like, so if you're American and you've not played an event, sign up to like Florida Open, for instance, or one of the events that are in the pool rooms where there's going to be top players there, and just play against them guys, because you're going to see a level what you probably don't really understand that exists.
I couldn't agree more. I've got to touch on that though.
Go ahead.
Like I grew up just like you, Carl. I was really natural player.
Mm-hmm.
99% of my career, I said, I mean, I'll never teach. I said, I don't need lessons. I don't do drills. I just get up there and play. You were the same. You were the same way. You were the
Oh, yeah.
same way, right? But now that we're older, especially for the younger players, and I'm not talking about being coached by me or anything like that, but pro golfers all carry coaches with them. And
Yep.
they do it for everything that Carl just said, right? We can all be out of form by this much. And if somebody from the outside can recognize it, well, then it's worth this much, just that right there. So I think to Carl's point, this day and age, with all the confusing information on YouTube, right? Because somebody's saying to do it this way or somebody's saying to do it this way. I think it's important for a young guy that's coming up to drop the ego and really seek somebody out for a little bit of whether it's mental or physical within his game, right? Especially if he's trying to go to these events like Carl just said. Because when you do go to a Florida Open or a US Open and you are a young player that's maybe a 600 level Fargo and you sit next to that partition and you actually watch them play, you're going to realize that it's at another level. And I think that you're really doing yourself a disservice without getting some type of advice and help.
Yeah, when you look at the event that we've got coming up, and you look at the guy that won it last year, he had Johan with him, the full event.
That's right. And Johan is absolutely, probably in my opinion, the best coach in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
Is what it is.
yeah, like when I played under Johan, he had a real good knack of understanding you as a person, and he'd say the right thing where you would like react or do something. Because if I've played in 100 pool tournaments, I bet 80 of them I've been guilty of like just been switching off and just like I'm
Talking to
going
yourself.
yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
going I'm going having a pint at the bar. I've had enough of this bullshit. You
Same,
know what I mean?
same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
absolutely.
No,
But
for sure.
but obviously, like when Fedor took him there, it's just the little things, like even having a little. It's funny, really, because like my lad's into darts. I mean, I don't know nothing about darts, obviously, but I'm trying to like. There's so many drills you can do, so I'm like, right, go and practice that drill, do this drill.
Yeah, I want to touch on that real quick. Don't lose your spot. But I told Bobby before the podcast, I said, I'm telling you, Joshua, this is Carl's son. I'm telling you, box office, he's going to be a world champion dart player. I just know it because Carl's a great coach, whether he admits it or not. But everybody's got to look out for Joshua in the future. Professional
Well, the only
darts.
pro-
It's coming. It's freaking
the,
coming.
the only issue is there's loads of kids playing darts now.
Yeah.
Everyone's at it, so there's a lot of kids
But he's
playing.
winning. But he's winning.
No, he's doing all right, but like with the pool, what I didn't have, it's like he's in like two academies, so he's in academy on a Sunday and a Saturday, and then he's doing like his practice drills, and then I'm putting him in little tournaments. So, like with the pool, I would say to like one of the younger players, up and comers, just to do that the same thing, because that's what the Fedors have done. Joshua Fillers, Shane's lived on the table and gone in all the pool tournaments and grafted his ass off. That's just what they all seem to do.
And I think the value of just having Johan there for Federer, just that presence of him being there, just being a shoulder, just that alone was probably enough to really get Federer through that tournament.
Do
That
you?
tournament for Federer though was insane, Carl. I mean, he was
Oh,
behind
crazy.
4 to 7 games and I think 5 different matches. You probably know the stats better than I do, but it was insane for him to win that tournament.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that just shows you that, like, his character, he don't throw the towel in, he tries to make something happen, which is the art of being a pool player. I presume he's going to take him again. I wonder if we're going to see anybody else. You know, maybe, I mean, I've not spoke to Alex Laley, but I wonder if someone's going to fly him in for it, or that's quite interesting, yeah.
No idea. It
Great
is
stuff,
interesting.
guys. Great stuff with the coaching. I agree with you 100%. You're talking about Federer, other people coaching, then you're talking about, like Scott saying, the 600 levels, get those guys. I mean, it makes a huge difference in every career. Like you said, tennis, everywhere. They all be professional baseball players. They all have their own personal coaches, and
Yeah, and
it
also,
goes a long way.
touching on that, Bobby, as well, I don't do any coaching, right? Because the flip side is Scott knows, because I've spoke to him a lot. There's a lot involved. There's so many like people involved in pool who you see on the social saying, "Oh, inbox me for coaching." Listen, not everyone can be a coach. You've got to like, you can't just like, you don't want to be a fraud. You know, Scott's putting a lot of work in because
Yes, I agree.
you know what I mean. It's like if somebody said to me, "Oh, will you give me some coaching?" I'm like, no. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. But I love that. I think we don't talk about me, and I don't want to talk about me, but I've told Carl a million times when I first started teaching in pool room in Phoenix, there was like 5 or 6 times a few months in where I was just done with it. I was just done
Yeah,
with it. But every time was learning more because I was never trying to lie to people. I'm never going to like lie to somebody, but you have to figure it out. And it is a lot of work. And it can be really hard on you as well because everybody's different within their styles and their game. But once you make it past like these certain steps when you're teaching, you start to really learn who you are yourself. And then you can really start to diagnose players almost at any level. And commentating does help, right? When you're watching players, and Jeremy Jones has helped me a ton just listening to Jeremy. Then I start to learn my own style. Yeah, teaching isn't for everybody, and you have to kind of like make it through the tough moments and believe in what you're saying because if you don't believe in what you're saying and you're not passionate about it, then I don't want you out there.
yeah. I think like if I was ever going to start coaching, I'd need to be like spend a month with Scott or JJ and or even Alex Layla, for instance, or Johan, and
Alex is great. Yeah.
see how they're going about it and just the whole like philosophy around it. Because if I just did it now, I'd be like,
Hit the
right,
ball
where
over
do
here.
yeah, where
Put
do I
some
start
spin.
here? Yeah, that's just that. Because like obviously when you watch so much nine ball like we do obviously at the events, you kind of get the feeling of you can vision what's going to happen or where it might go wrong. So obviously
Yeah.
that's all well and good teaching that to somebody who like let's say a crossover player. So let's say a snooker player. You know, when a snooker player is coming at a go at the nine ball, I could coach somebody like that because I'm not teaching them anything fundamentally really because they're pretty sound. Obviously a few little bits, but I don't know what Scott's like. I've never asked him, but do you struggle coaching someone who's terrible or someone who's like what
It's actually
when
it's a little bit easier at times, but if the stroke is just completely broken down and it has no natural movement to it, that can be tough because you've
yeah
got
I'm
to
just
start there. Everybody that comes to me that wants a lesson, every single one of them has always envisioned before they got that lesson that something else was going to happen than what really happened. Because I'm going to
yeah
stop them before they ever get to shooting a fun shot. If I really want to see them improving, I want to rebuild a couple of small things. And I'm not changing their games, but Jeremy's the same way, right? Like, what's the point in teaching you a really cool shot if you're not going to improve? The
yeah
shot itself isn't going to improve your game. It's your fundamentals and your stance, your footwork, and all that stuff.
yeah. So obviously not just getting coaching from a kid or entering the tournaments. Make sure you get like someone who's done a ton of coaching as well, not just someone who's like trying to nick $50 off you for an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Plus, if you get Scott or Jeremy, they have to buy me Starbucks as a commission as well, so that helps.
Yeah.
Yes.
I owe you anyway, Shag.
Yeah, I'm still waiting off Jeremy. He don't like spending that guy.
Oh,
Hi.
really? You better send him a message.
JJ. JJ's too smart.
All right, Carl, we're not going to keep you much longer. We got to get back Scott to his hard work that you see what he's got to do behind him. I think he's got to go grab a couple fish out of that river, right? He's got to do
He's
a
got
Yeah,
to
couple
well,
mow
I,
his,
things.
he's
I
got to
actually
mow his
just sent
lawn.
I sent Carl a video just right before we went on air. We had to do some trapping, so it's not all fun and games. I was knee deep in mud yesterday.
Yeah, he was putting petrol in the lawnmower. He's got to mow all his grass behind him.
Oh God.
Carl was mentioned about you running into the river. We got any shot of that before this is over? What do you think, Scott?
No, zero chance.
Oh, I'll get the
All right.
Starbucks if you dive in that lake.
No chance. No
I got two.
chance.
I got two more things for Carl. Then, if you want to follow it up with anything you end, but Carl, obviously Scott, myself, you, and I think anybody that's involved in this pool life, that what we do is, I think we're super blessed. It's so amazing, and if you live it, it's incredible. Well, what is your favorite thing that you got? That being with WNT, being around all the pros, obviously winning the world title, just hanging out with Scott. I mean, just all what's your best thing that you get from what you have?
I think even though we've not like had that fully fledged pro tour that that all the players or the people around the sport want, um, we're kind of on the right track. So even though someone might not be earning millions of dollars, um, people are earning $300,000-400,000. There's a few of them. Just the fact that we have had a taste of it. Do you know what I mean? So like going to the World Netball Championships, obviously it's in Saudi Arabia. The final was pretty well attended last year. That was a really good final, a really good vibe. But obviously the other days are going to be quiet. You would expect the same thing this year. But obviously with the money on offer, it's great to be there. And obviously Scott was there. The arena was unbelievable. They never missed a
Yeah.
trick. And, obviously we're going to be going to Florida. We've got the US Open coming up. So just to be a part of, I suppose, our pro tour, if you like, even though it's not quite there yet, how we want it.
Being part of the bigger picture, being part of the solution is what you're saying.
Yeah, just being a part of it, and obviously, obviously we go to the tournaments where all the best players are there, and obviously we've seen some unbelievable matches, since 2019. We've had some unbelievable finals, and just like obviously our commentary team, I believe we're the best out there. Not me, Scott, and Jeremy. Obviously, we're players just talking about it. But we have Phil Yates and Michael McMullen who do the lead comms and just what they bring to it. I just think it all works really well, and hopefully, it's pushing everything in the right direction.
Touching on that, just so everybody really understands, we want to get this done pretty quickly, but we have color commentators. Carl's worked a long time. Michael McMullen is an absolute Rain Man genius. These
Oh,
guys are as good as they get as far as commentary. And then Phil Yates. I get people in the States all the time that come to me and say, "Man, who are those guys? They don't know nothing about pool. They're just talking about this or they know more about pool than me and Carl and JJ probably put together." And I'm not joking. These guys are some of the most intelligent people you'll ever meet in your entire life. And I could give you examples and go on and on and on. I'm not going to do it. But if you want, really just take a little bit more of an open ear to Michael McMullen and Phil Yates. Those two guys, they start the racks out, they close the racks out, they talk a little bit in between. They're as good as they get.
yeah, and Scott knows because he's done thousands of matches with them. If you wasn't working with one of them, when you have to work with somebody who's not really done that role, do you realise how much fucking them two guys help you out? Honest to God.
They make us look 100 times better than if Carl and
Yeah,
I were just to work together.
yeah,
It's a whole different story.
because we're just talking about the game. We've played thousands of racks. We know like what ball's missable. What's going to come. So we have the easy end of the stick. But at the same time, they would say we've got the hard end of the stick because they can't call a shot, can they?
Good. Last question before I let go, and then obviously if Scott wants to finish up anything, what's up for Karl Boyes? What's his next thing? I know obviously you're going to continue to grow the WNT brand. You're going to get your YouTube up to 100,000, 500,000. What's your next thing that you got going on, Carl?
Yeah.
What is your YouTube channel name, by the way, Carl?
Just my name, Karl Boyes.
All right.
Yeah, like obviously at the last event, UK Open, I did a video with Jason Shaw where we had a game, and he was. If you've not watched it, watch it. He was telling us some hilarious stories about when he lived with Earl Strickland. It's so funny. So watch that video. Obviously, post regular. Obviously, it's a little bit easier when I'm at the events because obviously pool players live all over the world. No pool players really live in England. So when I'm at the events, I'm always trying to film some with some of the players. So obviously get back to that. Jay Flowers, Q's are sponsoring the channel now. So I've done the games room up. I've just had their logo put on the wall. So I'm going to start filming some more content at home, just because I like filming the content, and at the same time, I know it's growing pool because a lot of people are watching YouTube, aren't they, and things like that. Plus, you can earn decent money. Let's not be silly. It's all about the Gelder.
That's it.
And then obviously just obviously looking forward to the rest of the season because we've got some, obviously big events coming up. World Nine Balls coming up. Obviously, myself, Scott, Jeremy's going to be there. We were there last year. The VIP food was phenomenal. We was on chai lattes every 2 minutes, and obviously
Everything was great.
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, the hotel was phenomenal, and it's actually a really good place to go if you've never been. Actually,
But I tell people all the time, it's unbelievable. It's probably my favorite place to go.
Yeah, amazing. Get looked after, obviously, and obviously the pool players know they're playing for good prize money. If they qualify, they're on good money, and also I like the fact that it's the 1-8 player field. It's the smaller field. Might be a little bit more than 1-8 now.
I think it's 1-8, right?
Yeah, 1-8. Obviously, US Opens 2-5-6. So just the whole vibe around it, and obviously, Fedor's going back as defending champion. Just looking forward to that, and then obviously going to be spending August in America. Obviously, Florida Open, US Open. Yeah, so just looking forward to closing the year out with a lot of the big events.
Are you going to any of the smaller events like the Virginia Battle of the Bull or the McDermott Classic up there in Malden, or are you going just to the majors, Florida and US?
Which one is the one in between again?
So
Battle of the
there's
Bull.
Battle of the Bull in that's in Shane Wolford's room or his dad's room. Battle of the Bull, and then the McDermott Classics up there in Malden, Massachusetts. It's like 6 hours from Atlantic City. It's literally right after the US Open.
Yeah, I'm going to do some. Scott's been on my case for a while, but we was going to go to New York for a bit of a family holiday, but that's not happening now. So I'm out in America for the gap. So I'll either be at one of them pool rooms, or I'll either be on a boat with Scott somewhere, or in Vegas getting drunk. Something will be happening.
Sounds like fun. All right, Scott, take him home. That's all I got, man. Good stuff, guys.
No, Carl's like my brother. We go way back, but no, we appreciate having you on. Thanks for the communication on the family not going to New York City. Delightful with that. Absolutely delightful. I had to find it out here on the podcast.
Sorry, bro, but I did tell you I've been switching off from the sport for a few weeks while I can. And I know you've been busy on your ranch.
We text every freaking day. It's okay.
He is
Anyway,
busy though, right, Carl? Carl, he's busy, right? Scott is unbelievable. He's doing lessons. He literally, like I said, he's on vacation for a week, and I got him doing podcasts. I mean,
Now
he nonstop.
Every time I turn socials on, he's got another string to his bow. Podcaster, coach, fucking commentator, interviewer,
I know
gardener, fisherman,
professional pool player, everything. Oh
yeah.
Teacher, instructor, you got it.
No, in all seriousness, thanks for coming on. You're episode 6. You are the end of the series. We couldn't have had a better guest, so appreciate it, pal.
No, it's fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Carl. Have a good one. We'll see you. We'll see you at all the big events.
See you later, boys.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Right.
Enjoy the lake, Scott. Enjoy the lake.
I'm gonna go jump in it now.
No chance. You no bottle.
See you later.
All right, guys. Enjoy.